One of my short-term rentals made $212,739 in revenue in the past 12 months. And in today's video, I want to share with you everything that I do for my Airbnb behind the scenes to be able to do that. I'm going to share with you all the numbers, the profit that I take home, the expenses, and also how much time I spend managing the property, and also how I came up with the market and the prior research, and how much money I actually put into the property. So this isn't just one of those videos where I'm going to hold back all the valuable information and just brag about how much money I made. Instead, I'm going to give you everything from A to Z that I did so you can go and use this video to set up a property yourself. So I'm going to be breaking this down into 4 steps so you can follow through and understand everything to the T. In step number 1, we're going to talk about the numbers. Step number 2, we're going to talk about the management. Step number 3 is all the market research. And number 4 is my final thoughts. So let's get right into it. Step number 1 are the numbers. So for this particular short-term rental, it's a 5-bedroom, 4-bath chalet located in Virginia that we launched in March of 2023. So now as far as the numbers and investment cost goes, like I said before, it brought in $212,739 in revenue in the past 12 months. So that comes down to $710 per night, and my occupancy rate maintained about 82% throughout that 12-month period. So this is how the expenses break down. We have the property taxes, insurance, HOA fee, utilities, cable internet. We also pay our virtual assistants to manage everything, including a repairs and maintenance budget that we set aside every single month. Because this property is brand new, we only set aside 3% each month. So for the cash flow from this particular property in the past 12 months, we did $10,000 per month in cash flow. So total expenses, including the mortgage, it comes out to $76.70 per month on average. So now that we have the expenses covered, here's what the math looks like. So the revenue comes out to $212,739. The total expenses for the year comes out to $92,046. So the take-home cash flow is $120,000 or a 52% cash-on-cash return. So broken down on a monthly basis, the revenue comes out to $17,739 per month. The expenses comes out to $76.70 per month. So the take-home cash flow is about $10,000 per month. Now, depending on the month, I would have higher revenue and also higher cash flow. As you can see, through the summer and winter months, I would make around anywhere from $27,000 to $29,000 per month in revenue. And in the slower months, it would hover around $13,000 to $15,000 per month. Now, the big question is, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, I got it, but how much money did you actually put into the property? So here's the entire cost breakdown of how much money I invested into this property to set it up. So the purchase price for this property was $750,000. I put down 20% at a 9.25% interest rate. I know, gross, but I did negotiate that they pay for part of my closing costs. So the total down payment came out to $156,000. Now for the furniture, design, and amenities, like adding a game room, a hot tub, a theater room, fire pit, string lights, neon signs, accent walls, etc. This also includes paying my contractors to get everything set up. It came out to $85,121. So in total, I spent $241,121 to set up the entire property. Now, a lot of you guys are probably rolling your eyes and saying, well, I don't have $241,000 laying around to do this. Well, what if I told you you don't have to have that type of money to set up a property? In fact, you can set up a property without owning it, put no more than $10,000 to $12,000 into it, depending on how big the property is. You can still cash flow $2,500 per month out of it. So just stick around. I'm going to share more details about that later in this video. So now let's move on to step number 2, which is the management. Now, this part surprises almost every single person that I talk to about this, like my family, friends, etc. I literally spend 10 minutes per week to manage it. I'm not kidding. I have 2 virtual assistants I hired from Upwork and also Remote Hub for about $600 a month each. The first virtual assistant handles the guest messages, coordinating cleaners, and also the handyman, and also the day-to-day management. And the second one helps out the first VA, but also focuses on setting up the listings, the pricing, and also the automations for the business. For the boots on the ground team, we have the cleaners who we pay $295 per turnover clean, and then we pass the fee on to the guest. The handyman comes in as needed, and a hot tub maintenance person as well for this particular property. So all I have to do is check in on them on a weekly basis to make sure that they're doing their job properly, and that's about it. People get their minds blown when I tell them this. Usually you think I have to spend 10 to 15 hours per week or even more to justify the money that I'm making from this property, but that's not the case. And the crazier thing is I set up this property completely remote without stepping foot inside before or after going live. I managed the construction and set up everything completely remote by using the boots on the ground team and the 2 virtual assistants that I described above. This is the power of creating automation and also delegation processes within a short-term rental so you can spend your time doing what you love and not create a second job for yourself. And honestly, I can't stress enough how powerful this model can be if you set up everything correctly from the beginning. But if you do it incorrectly, it can turn into a living nightmare, so just stick with me here. Now let's talk about step number 3, which is the market research. So the way I was able to make that amount of money with this property was by identifying a profitable segment within a market that the competition doesn't target. Or I also look at markets that have less competition. So I chose a specific market because of the following reasons. So first, it was newly built, so I knew there was going to be less maintenance for the first 7 to 10 years. Number 2, it has a really cool cabin vibe that I know guests would be interested in. And number 3, it has really good bones that I like to look for, like vaulted ceilings, big windows, a deck area, awesome views, etc. What you want to focus on is having a key differentiator within your property so that other people can't just come in and steal and copy what you have to make their property similar. And also what I did additionally to differentiate myself was looking at nearby properties, seeing what they have and then what they don't have, and seeing how I can improve that in a better way for my guests. So the money that I spent before launching this property went to hiring an awesome interior designer, key amenities like a hot tub, a game room, string lights, neon signs, etc. to further position myself better than my competition. I cannot stress enough how important it is to invest into a really good design and also amenities for your property. So there you have it. This is the behind the scenes broken down into an A to Z process. Now, getting back to the point I made earlier in this video on how you can set up an Airbnb yourself that costs no more than $10,000 to $12,000 that can make you $2,500 a month in profit. So the method that I used starting out was something called the bridge method. So meaning you're going to still do the market research so you can find the profitable markets, but instead of buying the properties, you're going to be searching for properties listed for rent within that given market, and then you're going to call the landlords and then say something like the following: hey, I love your property. I'm interested in renting your property. However, I'm not a traditional tenant. I operate a vacation rental company, and our clients range anywhere from corporate workers that travel frequently for their jobs like nurses, other professionals, or families looking for a vacation. So what I do is I place them in a property like yours, and we handle all the management day to day. Our team of professional cleaners will come in after every stay to make sure that the property is going to be kept in great condition. Now, of course, there's a lot more that goes into this conversation with the landlord, but that's the general idea. So what you do is you pitch the landlord to sublease their property, meaning you become a second landlord essentially without having to buy it or going to hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and locking yourself into these super high interest rates right now. And sublease contracts can vary anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3 years depending on how confident you feel about the property and also market. And once you're about to sublease the property, you can use the research you gather from your local competitors and you buy the furniture that looks great but doesn't break the bank. And then once you do that, you can hire your boots on the ground team of handyman, cleaners, and movers to go in, assemble all the furniture, and then clean up the place after everything is done. And then once you have your virtual assistants in place, they'll handle all the day-to-day where all you have to do is check in on them maybe once or twice per week. So that way you can set up an entire short-term rental without having to buy the property and can do everything from the comfort of your own home. This is one of my favorite models to get started, and it still works today if you set it up properly. And then once you have enough capital and confidence, you can now go and buy these properties so you can get the equity plus leverage bonus depreciation and all the traditional real estate advantages just like I do. So if you're interested in learning more about this model, I'm going to be hosting a free live training where I'm going to show you exactly how I set up my first property step by step. Also give you a roadmap on how you can do the same for your situation. You can check the description box or the pinned comment if you're interested. At the end of the day, regardless if you do Airbnb or not, and you decide to do this on your own, there's going to be roadblocks just like any other venture. So for example, you could be living in an area where Airbnb is restricted and it's hard to follow the rules, or there's just too much competition in the given market. Or maybe you're not comfortable talking to landlords or parking $10,000 to $15,000 into a property that might not work out. Now these are roadblocks you're going to have to overcome. Otherwise, it would be too easy and everyone would be doing it and it wouldn't be that profitable. So if you find this video helpful, please give it a like and I'll see you in the next one.